The weather started getting rough. The ghost crew, they got mad. So they created a fog bank that engulfed Antonio Bay. But before they even made landfall to get their treasure back, the seagrass crew was caught in the middle of hacks and whacks. And once they were all dead, these ghostly pirates said, "Land ho!" And Father Malone and every citizen decided to go to the old church where they were all huddled up to get away from this ghostly crew that wanted their necks. But why were they targeting Antonio Bay? Why, it's because there was a treasure that was created from some gold that was taken when they had a deal. But since they were lepers, the grandfathers decided to steal the gold and make a golden cross. So Father Malone says, "Here, take it back, save us." I'm John Renton with the retro view of John Carpenter's The Fog from 1980. Wow, that was a really messy version of Gilligan's Island. But yeah, the weather did start getting rough. And my goodness, some 41 years later, this movie still holds up despite the crazy fashions and all the 80s hair. My God, all the late 70s, early 80s hair. Fucking hell. Goddamn, this was goddamn great. It was really, really fucking cool. I really enjoyed this. Now, that being said, is it perfect? No. Did it obviously have budgetary constraints? Yes, it fucking did. But you know what? It had Jamie Lee Curtis, it had Janet Leigh, so you had daughter and mother being able to act together, and they also acted together on the set of Halloween H2O, a mere 6 years before Janet Leigh, who was in Psycho, one of my favorite horror movies of all time, you know, before she passed away. She lived a long life, though, and one of the most iconic performances in Psycho. So, other crew members or other cast members. I mean, I'm sure there were crew members, but I didn't write everybody down because there's only so much notepaper I can use. Yeah, John Carpenter and Deborah Hill that also wrote this. And John Carpenter understood horror. This is before we got to Ghosts of Mars, which wasn't so good. It was a nice idea, but that was late stage John Carpenter. So you had Adrienne Barbeau, who is really, really great as Stevie, the DJ, and man, she had a really nice voice. Really nice voice for radio. Really, really enjoyable. Lost my train of thought several times while watching this. I actually had to rewind it because I'm like, God damn, she's got a nice voice. But yes, Jamie Lee Curtis, when she was rising up back on the streets, and also this is right after Halloween. This is right before Halloween 2, Electric Boogaloo, and also, I believe the same year as Prom Night. I think Prom Night came out in 1980. And it had Tom Atkins, no, not the man that created the diet, and also Hal Holbrook, who was Father Malone and created all of this, you know, freaking craziness by drinking and understanding that, well, we be fucked. If you are not familiar with this movie, sorry, 41 years after the fact, I'm going to be spoiling this shit. This review will not take very long, as opposed to that very long intro that I did. So there's a bad fog that engulfs Antonio Bay, which is small coastal area in California. Unlike the remake, they did in 2005, which I will also retro-review, that was in Oregon. And oh boy, I'm gonna have fun laying into that one. Nothing against Oregon, but I'm gonna lay into the 2005 fog. That being said, some 100 years ago, there was a leper colony that was trying to find salvation in Antonio Bay. Well, the founding fathers, forefathers, whatever, the people that basically had this whole goddamn thing said, hey, we're going to take their gold and we're basically going to kill them. We're going to sink their ship. This is going to be great. Nothing bad will possibly happen. And that was their fucking mistake, because some 100 years later, these ghosts are coming back and they're like, we want our gold. Yes. Why they're Emperor Palpatine, I have no goddamn idea. So it starts out with the Gordon Fisherman's captain basically telling kids campfire stories. That's a great goddamn thing. He actually did kind of look like the Gordon's Fisherman captain. I was half expecting him to hold a goddamn bag up as part of advertising. But then again, you wouldn't do anything. No movie would do blatant advertising like that. And I'm not talking about Wayne's World. I'm talking, boy, there were some movies that did such blatant advertising. But basically, there's a journal that Father Malone finds, and what ends up happening is he finds out this was his great-grandfather's journal. And basically it says on April 30th from the hour of midnight to 1 belonged to the dead. Okay, so that's going to be pretty goddamn bad. Here's the thing, though. Since April 21st was the official 100-year anniversary, guess what? That's the remaining 10 days of April, or 9 days of April, where between midnight and 1, you better not be out, you better lock your doors, you better have great weather stripping, and you better just hope that the ghostly pirates don't fucking kill you. Because guess what? Not only are they ghostly pirates, they're ghostly leper pirates. So they are going to make sure that they just, hack and slash and throw pieces of themselves at you, even though ghostly lepers is not physically possible. So, I did kind of like, how they had payphones there. Payphones were like ringing like crazy, and there was some guy with, massive hair that he could use as his own mop that was sweeping up a store, but then glass was shaking and everything because the weather's starting to get rough. And glass shattering, so much glass shattering, it's almost like Stone Cold Steve Austin was making his entrance 16 years before he would become Stone Cold Steve Austin. So, Antonio Bay is like Ocean Shores, only, much more depressing. And if you understand anything about Ocean Shores, you might be shocked to hear that. Because Ocean Shores, Washington, great goddamn tourist trap. No, I'm not talking about the Chuck Connors tourist trap. It's a great area that you can visit in the summer. The winter, less so. But beautiful, in a sense. Expensive, though. God, those hotels are expensive. So, this ghostly crew decides to invade. Invade! Because they want revenge, as a ghostly crew would, especially considering that they were killed, and they just wanted salvation. Sure, they might have been diseased, but they were people, too. So, you have Tom Atkins' character, Nick Castle, and Elizabeth, who's a hitchhiker that he picks up, and they really tried to reenact a whole bunch of stuff in the 2005 remake that, we'll talk about, but boy, they did so much better here, because John Carpenter had life and energy, and yeah, so, basically, Jamie Lee Curtis, who plays Elizabeth, is just, she's trekking up to Vancouver, BC, which apparently is a destination everybody wants to go to. I've never been to Vancouver, BC. I didn't really want to, because I don't really want to go to Canada. Nothing against Canada, but I don't have a passport. It'd be impossible. Also, I wasn't born in 1980, so I wouldn't have known what Vancouver, BC was like. So, this, ends up where they're having a chat and everything, and then the glass shatters and everything, because apparently trucks just weren't built like they are now. If you go over a goddamn pothole, boom, glass shatters, and they end up. The fog rolls in, and the Seagrass crew is caught there, but Nick knows this crew. And not the DK crew, but what kind of fog rolls the opposite direction of the wind? Stevie is asking her friend Dan. And Adrienne Barbeau is basically just playing whatever music and having a very nice voice for DJ work. And Nick and Elizabeth are sleeping together. Oh my God, Tom Atkins and Jamie Lee Curtis are sleeping together. Ghostly crew, invade right now. All is forgiven. I don't care. Just get whoever decided to have them sleep together. I kid. Tom Atkins looked old, even in 1980, and it's fucking mind-blowing. Jamie Lee Curtis, she looked great then. She looks great now. And then you get the knocking stuff between midnight and 1, because the hour of the dead, yes. They're like, boom, boom, they're doing this. They're knocking with their axes. If the axes are rocking, you'll get a knocking, like you'll get your skull knocked out of your goddamn head. I don't know how that would work. There's a kid that spots a whole bunch of stuff by, this rock ridge, and it turns out he finds a board that just says Dane. No, not Great Dane, Elizabeth Dane, because that was the name of the ship. And Stevie, Adrienne Barbeau's character, is like, oh, he's just like, my kids waking me up, Andy, Andy, you're a fine girl. Wait, that's not how it works. Andy, just go play, but just take it easy. Just don't do anything stupid. But naturally, as a kid, he's very curious. And then Janet Leigh, who she basically is getting the town celebration ready for the 100-year anniversary. Nothing could possibly go wrong except all the stuff I just talked about. And the seaside landscape is very pretty. Like, really, it's a very, very beautiful area. I imagine it's probably not that fun in the winter, and if you don't get gas before you get back out there and the station is closed, you be fucked, yo. You might want to get a goddamn gas can. Speaking of which, at one point, while the glass is shattering and stuff like that, a gas pump falls over and the thing just starts dinging. And this is right after a couple gas crises, I believe, in the 70s. So my God, it's the idea of the ghostly crew. They're like, okay, they took it from us because we're lepers. We don't know what gas is because we died in 1880, but we're going to stop this from being able to be affordable for them. Damn it, they're going to raise the gas prices to the moon. So, Man, oh God, Tom Atkins, he's Atkinson's up. I don't even think that's possibly a word, but he decides to go out with Elizabeth, well, because they're an item, because when you pick up a hitchhiker, naturally, I guess you can bang him. I guess them's the laws. And they go out to the seagrass. Well, yeah, turns out that the seagrass crew be dead, and Father Malone is reading to Janet Leigh's character and her friend Sandy, no, not Sandy Dollar, but her assistant, about all the stuff that happened about to the Elizabeth Dane crew and what his great grandfather did. And oh my God, this is terrible, absolutely terrible. And then there was a plot basically. Well, they're lepers. Let's take their gold, and let's just go from there. April 21st, the deed is done. Thy deed is done. Yes, and then there's a lighthouse, the longest path to a lighthouse ever, or whatever. Like, seriously, the steps, it must have gone like a goddamn mile. I hope they did that in one take, and I wouldn't have been able to do 2 takes. And then after the kid had, basically said he wasn't going to go back on the beach, naturally, he's a curious kid. Stevie takes the board with her, the ghostly board and everything, that decides it doesn't like the music choices. It's going to drip water all over, and oh my God, everything's frying. And she waits there a little bit and decides, oh, I probably should put the fire out. Maybe I shouldn't have this ghost board here, but I'm going to have it anyway. And then, wait a second, it's a self-starting waterboard. Man, it's waterboarding itself. It's motorboating itself. I don't think that's how that works. And Antonio Bay has a curse on it. The curse beware, the curse beware. And then, I guess basically after she puts the fire out, who put the fire out? Boop, boop. Deep penetrating ocular wood. Ha ha, ha ha. Penetrating. So, there's a lot of body moving. Oh my God, these ghosts are doing a whole lot of shit, like they are going to slice and hack everyone. Okay, terrible, terrible song renditions. I'm butchering everything. The celebration goes on, because the beat goes on, do-do-do-do, but before that, Elizabeth gets targeted by one of the dead bodies, because it wasn't quite corn dead bodies everywhere. There were only 2 dead bodies, because it was a small morgue. A small smorgasbord. I should retro-review Charlotte's Web at some point. The animated one, not the live-action version. And hope no one else gets lost in the fog, because Stevie is talking to Dan. It's not Steely Dan, but it's Stevie Dan. It's the lesser version. It's a tribute band, despite the fact Steely Dan was still hot, I believe, in 1980, I think. And Nick calls the station to request a radio, hit. Oh, wait, no, he calls to talk about the Seagrass crew. But the fog is glowing, the fog is moving, and then they discuss what happened to the Seagrass, even though they figured it out, because the crew's dead. And the foghorn, keeps blowing. No, not Leghorn. I say, boy, this ghost crew is coming at us. And I need to make it to the lighthouse. Okay, you want to come with? Yeah, let's just go right into the goddamn fog. Dance into the fog here. And then, why wouldn't you just go very close to a ghostly fog and everything instead of away from it? People aren't very smart in the 80s. Granted, they aren't very smart now. So, fog, nearly an hour in. I mean, they would do the fog on occasion, but now finally the fog's going in. Woo! We got necessary budgetary stuff so we can do fog stuff. And then it's Dan, he got hooked. Any wrestling fans will just goddamn love that. Everybody else will be just mind-numbingly stupefied by their various references. And Stevie, she was all upset. And then she was trying to get the generator started. All this stuff was going on. This fog is trying to invade. Because everybody has really bad weather stripping in Antonio Bay, the fog can just get in there. And they're like, okay, let's just work on this and let's stab. I don't think this is how stabbing works. And then there was this woman named Corbritz, I believe, or Corbritz, I think is how it's said, and she's Mrs. Deadbritz, because she got basically killed. And then Andy decided to, kind of be dumb. Well, actually, no, that's not fair. Andy was actually trying to be smart. He got rescued by, after seeing his babysitter get basically killed, or I believe a family member. Stevie's trying to call, save my son, save my son. So Tom Atkins and his diet, along with Jamie Lee Curtis, they go and they rescue Andy. And then the car gets stuck while the fog and everything and the ghosts are around. And they say, Andy, get out and push, which would have been hilarious. You can't get Raggedy, but you can get Andy there. So, get to the old church. That's basically what Stevie's saying, even though you would think she was being invaded by this fog. But no, somehow in the lighthouse, not the Robert Pattinson, Willem Dafoe movie, she is somehow okay. And they get to the old church, and they're going to go to the cellar. But now Father Malone's like, hey, we got to find this. We're just going to have to assume that we're all going to die here. Get the journal. It tells us sweet secrets. Actually, it tells us where the treasure is. They find the treasure. It's a solid gold cross. Yukon Cornelius must fucking love this goddamn thing. And the ghosts get there and glowing eyes and everything. And not in 3D. They get there. They take the cross and everything. And Father Malone gets pulled away just in time, even though he feels he should have to pay for it because there were various descendants that got killed. 6 people for the 6 crew members that died. And, oh no, only 5 died. But they got their treasure back. That's okay. They fade away. And then Father Malone died anyway. No doubt hinting that we were going to get a sequel. Thankfully, we did not get any other version of the Fog. Oh wait, 2005. Which again, I will be retro-viewing. So let me know your thoughts on the Fog 1980, the good one, in the comments, please. Like, share, subscribe. Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritland. I'll see you soon.